we're back. We're somewhat recovered from DNC. Myself and Tourney over there. What's up, Tourney? We got Max in the house who's eager to talk. He hasn't talked for a while. So you know what? We're not even gonna. This podcast is all about DNC. So with that said, let's drop that intro and get to talking about a great race that it was.
Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this money-grabbing book racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right. Yeah.
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about it.
Here we go. $100 right here. $100 throw. Oh no!
I like this.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Welcome to episode number 173. I think this is 173. It's been so long since we recorded one. So I believe it's episode 173. Nitro is the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. But Nitro was definitely the glory at the Dirt Nitro Challenge 2022. We are here to talk about it. We got my boy Klinik RC, Tourney, and his wife, who I met finally over there. And Maximus Mortimus, he's down here to talk about a little bit of stuff. We got home. Actually, you're looking less homeless today, Max. You know, you're looking kind of, new hoodie. The gray hoodie makes you very homeless, like, you know what I mean?
I guess that the gray color is like the homeless color.
Yeah, if homelessness was what you was going for, then gray is where you want to go. I mean, I'm wearing gray now, too. But thank you guys for joining. It's a Sunday afternoon. We're chilling. Max has got a bunch of snow. Tony's got a bunch of snow. I have a bunch of water. We all had some natural type of disaster happen to us in the last couple of days, too. It's crazy.
Yeah. Country 40 kilometers from my house is going to war too.
Exactly. Yeah, you got
that.
Russia next to you. Tony had hail yesterday and then had snow today. Yep. I had my front yard flood out, almost had my house get flooded. I was enough water in my yard to drive my jet boat. That's how crazy it was.
You posted a video too. It looked cool.
Yeah, till I scratched it. I kind of ran it up on the rocks and hit the gate a couple of times, but it's pretty tough. It's meant to do all that type of stuff. Meant to bounce off rocks and all that there. So anyway, guys, we're back. We're here to talk about DNC. It was a great event. Before I do it, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who supported us and shared our shared what we did over the DNC trip. We got a lot of views on YouTube. I put a lot of stuff on YouTube. I kind of focused on YouTube this time, and we got a lot of views. I think we're almost up to 2,000 subs, so thank you. Keep hitting that sub button. People liked what I done. I had a blast. I enjoyed it, so I'll talk more about that in a minute. But thank you to everybody that shared and enjoyed this. We can't do it without you. Shout out to the NNRC Squad around the world. Shout out to the patrons of the NNRC. I can't do it without you. I think that's Max Kraken. I'm going to mute him. And thank you to you guys. If you wish to be a patron, you can. The link for that is in the written description of this podcast. And shout out to the awesome sponsors that helped me get up there. They were High Tech, TZO, Tires, and Invisible Speed. And now this is a regular podcast, so I'd like to also shout out to our other sponsors, which are TNR Fuels, Beach RC, Techno RC, Lugs Racing Tires, Mayako, JQSM, G-Spec RC Tuning, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, Racecraft USA, Klinik RC, got my hat, JTP RC, RCGP, House of RC. Shout out to my boys, RC Kevin, and all the drivers that support us. What's up to you guys? Yeah, DNC dudes. DNC was awesome. I just gonna get that right off the bat, Max. I think I'm gonna say this. I haven't had this much fun at a race in quite some time. I think also I can compare it when I went to my first DNC, which was very exciting for me because I had never been to a race like this. I didn't have that feeling for this race, but I really enjoyed it more than I did in past years. And maybe that was because I was kind of just on the outside, not on the outside, but I was just observing the whole time. No real responsibilities, just do my thing, do what I had to do. And man, I had a blast. I met so many people. I watched so much racing. Dude, I literally stood up and watched racing for hours on end. And it was long days and all that type of stuff, but man, I had fun. I had a lot of fun. I'm going to say that right off the bat before I go on any further. How about you, Tourney?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. We got there early. I think we were there a day before you guys came. And we were just kind of doing some wrenching, hanging out, checked out the track, and kind of planned like where we were going to be for the event. Yeah, it was pretty good. I had some of our old friends pitting with us and hadn't seen these guys in 10 plus years. So it was pretty cool. I mean, I think I ran just the right amount of classes to where I was racing both days, all day, but there was enough time in between where we were goofing off. And I know you walked in on a couple of our.
Yeah, you was busy too, though. You was busy. Every time I saw you, was tuning somebody's car or pitting somebody or helping somebody. So and then Vicky was super busy, dude. Max, dude, if it wasn't for Vicky and Tourney, I would have starved at this race. Like they had coffee for me, food. Like she would like come over and get a sandwich and make this big giant sandwich and fruit and snacks and more coffee and wow.
She's the RC mom out there,
Yeah.
Before we leave, we make lists of everything and
dude,
all our supplies and food and drinks and luckily I got this trailer project done to where it was awesome. We had power. We set up all of our coffee inside, and it made it really comfortable. Yeah. It was nice. Yeah,
it did because we weren't stopping.
How is the facility there? Is it like Fear Farm where it's kind of there, but there's still nothing, or is it like how is it?
There's a facility there. Yeah. There's actually a facility here. Okay, so let's get into that. First off, it's I think this is probably better than Fair Farm and all those places because you have asphalt, So you have asphalt, you have running water, you have bathrooms. The porta potties are close by. They had a good bunch of porta potties. They were clean. You have a whole bunch of other bathrooms that ain't too clean that you can use as well.
It's a county fairgrounds.
Yeah.
So the facility the track itself is in is like a rodeo area with fences around it. And so there's parking right next to the track. Mm-hmm. And that's the main area there is all asphalt. And then they have separate areas that are all grass for all the RVs. So all the areas were completely full by Wednesday. I mean, it was literally a little city. It was crazy, it
was nuts.
With the race with almost 1,000 entries, I figured there's probably between 2,000 and 3,000 people there because every person who enters a class has, their family and friends and kids and wives and, it was a lot of families there, but
dude, it was so full everywhere.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, that's why we got out of there so quick Sunday. Because I was like, man, if we stick around for the mains, it'll take hours to get out of here. Like a concert, almost like leaving a big concert or a big soccer match. Like we gotta get out of here, and we watched it from the hotel.
So I think for me also, Max, it's like this time I also went in a few days early, and kind of like what we did in 2018. So we went to do some. We didn't get to Santa Barbara, but we got to like Revelation. We went to Revelation for 2 days, I think, and so you got to do some testing and see all of that, and see all the inside stuff. Which I think Joseph and I, because we're going to talk about it too next week, we'll talk about more about that. But I got to see a lot of that and just observe. I was also staying with. It was like the first days there was me, Joseph, Mike Hill, Ronnefalk, his dad, Adrian, which is the his photographer, the guy who was there at RCGP, and Alex. So and we're all in this 5-bedroom Airbnb in Chino, right? It's nice. So me and Mike were kind of sharing a room. Joseph had a room, but Joseph was going to stay with Greg come start the race. He was staying in the trailer. So once that happened, I got my own bed, and that was comfortable. But it was 45 minutes away. So it was like a whole every morning, get up at 6, leave at 7, be there for 8. Or some days we had to go earlier. The kind of last couple of days we came a little later. But there was no stopping in between. It was like one vehicle we all crammed into, and we went there. So it was like, it was fun. It was like old school, getting together, everybody on a budget, staying in a place together, sharing a vehicle.
I gotta be honest. Being a guy who has traveled to a lot of races, the most fun I always have is when you get an apartment with your buddies. So like the few of the Euros we've gone to, like all of the Finnish guys have stayed at apartments, like 10 people, around 10 to 15 people, and you rent a big house and you all stay there. Like that's the most fun, because you don't have to worry about like nighttime. You can wrench, you can hang out with people, cook some dinner. You're not like at a hotel where everyone has their room, and it's sort of like you're there but you're not really there. I think that's that's the best way to travel to an RC race. Obviously, if you have a trailer or a caravan, being at the track is also good. I really like that too. But I think if people who travel to these big races, if you're going there with a few friends, definitely do that, because that's though if you might have to drive a bit more or whatever, it's still so much more worth it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Being on the inside, hanging around these guys, seeing how they work, how they work together for so long. And I had fun. I mean, obviously, if you have a wife or a significant other, you can't do this. But it was all dudes, and it was like being back in high school.
You can do that.
Again. Some guys do.
More adventurous, but you can definitely do that.
All right, yeah. But that was kind of our situation. We went. I met Tourney, I think Tuesday. We came to set up tents and all that stuff. So we set up. And it just kind of set up. As soon as we set up, it rained. And it rained, and it didn't stop, or it did stop, right? But it rained so much, dude. The Wednesday. All right, so let's talk about. So we did all of that. So we did that. Let's talk about our first impressions of the track on the Tuesday. Then, Tourney, you go ahead, Tourney. Then I'll go, and then Max, you can give your impressions from seeing it virtually. Go ahead, Tourney.
The track was crazy. Yeah. I mean, you walk up and you go around, and then you go around the front, and the track is, I mean, we've all raced on big tracks and seen big tracks. And I wouldn't say that the dirt is the biggest track, but I think Joey makes some of the biggest obstacles, So you originally walk up on the track and you can't see everything because there's 5-foot deep holes and gravity cavities and these big berms carved out. So you first walk up and you're like, wow, this is pretty cool. And then you go walk up the driver's stand and you're like, God damn, look at all these, I mean, like 5-6 foot deep rollers in the front, and it's just, and then you're like, whoa, holy moly, this is crazy, and yeah, it was pretty awesome. A couple of guys that I went with, this was their very first DNC and their very first experience with a really, legit track. And they went on all day. Like, holy cow, our car's going to last through this, and I'm like, you're fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't a flat track with a couple doubles and some little bumps and whoop-de-doos. And like, this is the big show. This is like Supercross, you know? So, yeah, I was blown away. I didn't expect any less really from Joey. I mean, he blows our doors off every year, you know?
Yeah. This was the best layout I've seen at a DNC since for a while. I didn't like that it didn't have a straightaway, but I was kind of all right with that.
Yeah.
Because okay, so when I first saw it, I was like, oh wow. Now, when I go back to 2018, he had that 6-pack, right? Which I thought was very cool, you know, but very dangerous for marshals, for drivers, and stuff like that. And I think this year, with the way that front pack was in front of the driver's stand, and the way it was kind of dug out, and it was just tabletops, so it made for less mistakes. You know, you had to still be precise, but it made it easier. So I like that. Dude, just standing up there, like when I stood up there, because the scoring and driving towers where I would stand almost every race, and it sounds like motocross, Max. All you hear is brap, like that's all you would hear. Like the guys would just come over the finish line, just crest that hill and just get in the throttle, and it just sounded just like a 2-stroke motocross, like brap, brap, and you just hear it lap after lap, like with 5 cars go brap, brap. So probably the coolest song I've heard all week, you know. And then you hear them and you watch and you go watch it, and I just like I think the bull into the double triple. You just see these cars, like from where I was standing, you couldn't see. You just see them dive down into this bull. You don't know how deep they've gone down. You see some guys railing this berm, like trying to get as high as they can on this berm to hit this double, triple. And I'm just thinking, wow, this is like freaking Supercross, exactly like Tourney said. So to be there and see this, it was super exciting. I think when I think back to some of the most exciting racing, I could think back to probably one of the most exciting races that probably doesn't get enough credit was the E-Truggy race, to be honest, with Carlos Arredondo and Adam Drake racing. And those two went to battle, like, because Drake's really good with that E-Truggy, and Arredondo is really good with that Techno E-Truggy. And they had such a race side by side that it was like, when guys got good laps on this race and raced side by side and didn't hit each other, it was beautiful to watch, man. Honestly, I really enjoyed the track as a spectator. I enjoyed it. Even when it got rough, you know, it was still fun to watch. It made it for exciting lines. Different people, some people out on the very far, like railing the berms, you know, and some guys who were more like Ronnefalk was one of them guys who liked to go right on the inside, you know, and he would get on that little spot of the inside of the corner, which wasn't too rough, or, you know, and he'd overtake guys there. But I think the track was like one of the best I've seen, because he had time to bake it, so he didn't have to rush it like he has had to do in previous years. He had time to make it. It had time to settle a little bit, I think, too, which also helped, even though it still got rough, you know. Some people complained about fixing the track at night. I know Tourney was kind of blown away with it. It's like, I came prepared for a bumpy track, but it was smooth. But I honestly think if they hadn't fixed it, it would have just got completely annihilated, you know, and it would have been too hard. But we're going to talk about Saxton fixing the track, but we'll talk about that later. That's something I don't agree with. I think the track was fun, man. As a spectator, being there, and seeing probably, you know, Joe is still one of the best track builders in the world. You can see his signature in a lot of things. And there was no freaking bridges, no crossovers, and I wish he had I wish he had a step up or two. I do like step ups. So for me, as a spectator, I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, like initially when I looked at the track, I was like, okay, we're back to how DNC should be. Because let's be honest, 2019, 2020, those tracks at Paris, he obviously, like, stuff happened. Like the track got flooded, he had to relocate it and all that stuff. But like, at the end of the day, those tracks weren't right, that DNC-esque. They weren't the same. And then Thunder Rally, that was more of a typical Thunder Rally track, not like a DNC track. This was we're back to like the DNC. So seeing that those dugout doubles and tabletops in the front, that hip jump on the right side, the sort of elevation, those rollers, the 90-degree corners, all of that, I was like, okay, we're back to how Joey does tracks. And it was cool to see. I really like that. And I believe like the layout itself was probably like the best we had so far. And like it was weird because during the qualifiers the track looked more rough than during the mains. During the mains the track itself looked pretty good. You had the lines, you could go outside, you could go inside. It was bumpy, but you could still handle it. So that was perfect about it. I really liked the track in that sense, and I think the front section worked pretty well. I didn't see like I think in my opinion I had some issues with the track, like looking at it and like what happened during the race. But that was just this one section. The middle, like the triple, and then the 90-degree, and then the triple out. I actually talked to some people in the Discord about it. I think the issue I really have is like those jump faces wore off, and then when the mains came, like some people when they missed it, they had to go like single, and then the other guy behind them went triple. So like mid main, we could see Thibault flying upside down in the air because someone rear-ended him. At the start, like Mayfield and Bornhorst had like a 15-second lead because everyone behind them just kept crashing in this because they were in a huge pile. So I think this is like Joey has never done this type of section before, or if he has done, it's been much easier. Like the first triple always must be as easy as possible, in my opinion, because here we could see like there was some gnarly hits where people just like went single and the car behind just tried to go triple, and then just like a huge crash, and like few marshals barely got saved. So that's like the downside of these like dug out jumps too. Like these marshals are like if I was there, I would just be like waiting for the cars to come, and if no cars come, then I'll like go. I'm not going in there if I'm marshalling because that's insane. But yeah, I think apart from that center section in the mains, I like the track worked perfectly. In like the qualifiers, the center section worked perfectly because the jump faces were still good. So you had that lift off of the jump, so you could make the triples, both of them, and then go on that double single or single double, however which way you do it. I think if he had made it so that the double would have been even close to the same speed, I think then it would have worked actually perfectly. But now you had to do the triple to be fast, and then some people when they missed it, they would just break and get rear-ended. But that was like the only issue I really had. I think like some people were like, "Oh, well, it's the DNC. It's third Nitro challenge, not easy." And like, if anyone says that one more time, I'm gonna shoot someone because that's like, come on. Like I've heard it so many times, and it's just silly. Like the challenge comes from the bumps. The challenge comes from like the way the track is formed, like the essence of the track. I think these sort of sections kind of kill that. They kill because you can't follow cars here. Like if you're following someone, it's like 50-50 you're gonna rear-end them. So it's like that's something I don't really like. But when the people managed to do those triples in the center, then it was perfect because you could follow like all the corners, like go inside, outside, those split lines. That's perfect. That was amazing. And like when Ronnefalk and Testament were racing, like in the e-buggy, they were good races, and yeah, that was good to see. I only issue I really had was the center section. That's something I feel more people should pay attention to. Like things can.
It should have been uniformed. I know what you mean. It should have been like double or triple. Easy.
But like my point is that things can be hard, but hard in a way where you can still keep the speed up, but you're going to be a tiny bit slower. Or they can be hard where if you screw something up, everything goes to shit, and then like other cars get caught up in it too. So there's sort of an idea where you do sections so that if you mess it up, you just lose time instead of messing everything up with it. So that was sort of the only gripe I had.
Well, I did that because Mayfield actually, that's where Mayfield, in e-buggy lost it. Like he cased it, and that was it. I tell you, who had a great line going through there. It was actually Cody Watson. He would just come over that first single, just hover over it, and then he would just double, and it was just as fast as anything else out there, and he was easy to do.
That's something I wondered, because I saw a few guys do it. Like one guy in intermediate or 40 plus did it like almost every lap. So I wonder why no one really did it, because I feel it was just as fast, or like I don't think you lost much, and you didn't have to, like, you could go inside on the berm. I don't know if there's much bumps there, but you didn't have to go to the berm to the outside, because like Mayfield crashed there like 3 laps in a row at some point in the main. Like a lot of people crashed in the berm. That was like the most common place to crash. So like if you could have gone to inside, then single, double out, I think that could have been more utilized. I don't know why people didn't do that.
There was no lip on the inside. So if you come over the inside, you were casing the table, and then it was really hard to clear the double. So if you rolled the table and hit the downside, you could clear the first double. The first double was further apart than the second double.
Yeah, probably that's the issue.
Yeah, probably like 3 or 4 feet, a significant amount. So you had to hit the table somewhere in the middle to the outside to clear it and downside, and hit the first double with enough speed to clear it. Because the worst thing that would happen that I watched is people would short that first double and go right over on their lid, and then you said, there's 5 more cars coming. The marshals are like, they're not going to die, so they just wait. And it ends up being a 10-12 second crash,
and it's not only that, it's not only for that guy, but the guy is jumping too, because at least one of those cars are going to get caught.
If they try to do that same line. But there was a huge hole down inside that berm too. Huge. It was a few feet around, and it was like this deep. And when you hit it, I mean, it was like hitting a curb. I actually watched cars hit, and then they would go right over, and crash in the middle of the berm. And so you either wanted to rail the outside, or you wanted to cut down on the inside, fading to the middle when you took off the table. So that was a very tricky section, but it was good, because guys that couldn't change their line or put the car in the right spot crashed all the time.
I think that is good, but I think the issue is, like, when you crash, usually crash so that other cars don't hit it. The position where you crash, sort of like if it was so that when you crashed you would go to the outside, there was a corner after or something, that I feel is more, it's better suited for the racing side of things. But when it's like triple, then you crash, and then you have like the guy behind you has to keep it pinned. That's when the issues happen, really, because you're going full speed into cars. And there was some gnarly crashes. I was surprised less cars actually broke, because I saw some pretty bad hits even in the pro main. Like Thibault flying upside down in the air, like that was crazy. Almost hitting the Marshall too.
It was funny watching one of the Treguier main, and where the cars did break weren't in that section.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
It was surprising. Yeah,
they were breaking on the smallest jumps on the track, which was crazy.
Yeah, it was gnarly. Even on the front section, I saw some cars hit so hard there, and I'm like, how did they not break?
Yeah. There got to be a ton of holes down in those gravity cavities, and especially the second takeoff. The whole center of the jump takeoff was just mangled, and your car would go off that like all sorts of, kitty wampus, and so that line you had to change too. I like that myself. I mean, if the track is totally smooth every day, it's in my opinion, it's less of a driver's track, because a lot of guys can string together 5 minutes full pinned and run some fast times. But you throw some bumps and holes, and then you tell him you can't run the inside, you got to run the outside here, and they start just folding. So
that's why. That's why I love DNC too, because there was times like when I was there, I was like driving these lines, then the next qualifier, those lines didn't work. So I had to like get new lines. And I feel that is a skill a lot of drivers lack, even in the US, even though like that's very common, especially in the West Coast. But having the sort of skill to know which line to pick and being like quick to adapt. Like there are guys who do this one line very well, but if that line breaks, they have nothing. They just can't do anything. But some guys are like, they try another line. First time they messed it up a bit, second time they got it. Like that's a skill I think a lot of people don't have. And I think the style of DNC sort of that let the track break up, let some of the jump face break up, like especially sort of that right side, the triple. A lot of people went outside. Some people kept it really inside. And like David Ronnefalk, he was going like or like on the right side of the track. He was like every place he went all the way to the outside and circle around all those bumps and stuff like that is like something you have to like pick. And then on the left side, you had those 180s where you could go inside, outside. Like Mayfield is a guy who always picks the outside line. I think Cole is the same. But then there's some guys who know when to pick the inside, when to pick the outside. So they sort of find their spots. So that is always interesting. And that's a big skill to have for sure, a race like this.
Yeah, and then 45 minutes or an hour-long main, that could change again. You know, I mean,
yeah.
I like to go up a couple races before and I watch and I find the bad spots and how bad they are and where the good area is, you know, and kind of learn a little bit like before I actually go out there. So I have a little bit more info, but during the long mains, that could all go out the window too. You know, I mean, the one line that you liked in the beginning of the main maybe isn't there at the end of the main. So yeah, I think it adds another dimension to the racing, you know, and that's why that first day after it started blowing out, we showed up and they fixed the track and I was like, yeah, I got my bumpy stuff ready, man. We're going, you know.
I don't actually mind them fixing it between classes. So like, because it's like at first it's just practice, then it's truggy and e-buggy. I don't mind them actually fixing it like that, like after each day because it's different class. But if it would be sort of like buggy qualifying starts on Friday and then they have one round on Saturday, between that, I don't think they should do that. But I think when the classes switch, I think then it's actually not that bad. I kind of like it that way because then the bumps will still be there, but then you sort of like, I think it could be even fine just fixing jump faces because like I think it's just about making the track sort of making it bumpy where it's most sort of preferable. Like because when you just let it be, some bumps form where it's like just bad, like they don't really provide anything. But it's a hard call. Like sometimes the track, like when I went to DNC in 2018, that track held up much better than these tracks. Like the dirt at Paris is much softer, so I guess that's why he did it. Because before in Fearform, I don't think he ever touched the track at all, and it stayed much better than the track at Paris. But
there's a lot of sand in this track.
Yeah, they can be arguments for both sides. I don't like, but if he keeps it like super smooth, then I'm not for it. But if it just like rough out the really bad stuff, then I think it's okay.
Well, and he used to always fix the jump faces, but he would leave the flat spots alone. And I think that first day, the first truggy and e-buggy day, the track blew out because of the rain. I think it was really soft. So all those cars on the track during that qualifying day, I think just beat the snot out of it because after that day, they fixed it. We showed up for Nitro Buggy E-Truggy Day and it was all smooth and it really didn't get that bumpy in my opinion. I don't know. It looks different when I watch it on the videos than being there. I didn't feel like my cars were upset by the bumps hardly at all. So, but I watch on the video and some people would just be going down a lane and flip over for just because of a bump. So it definitely looks different online, but no, it was good. I was fine. You know, I figured it'd get bumpy again. It did, so, you know.
Yeah.
Good to go.
I have to say that Wednesday was just horrible though. I have to say that Wednesday was miserable. It was cold and windy, and I was so glad that they only did one round of practice. If they tried to get 2 rounds in,
Yeah.
Dude, it would have been so miserable. It was the coldest day. It was windy. I just had a hoodie on. It was cold, but I braved it. And I stayed up on that tower and scoring tower and watched the racing. But Thursday brought much better days. So we had qualifying. It was truggy and e-buggy qualifying, which is what I like about DNC. It makes it a longer race, but I appreciate those days. It takes a long race and shortens it. Truggy, you ran truggy, Tourney. How did your qualifying go?
Not bad, really. I haven't ran truggy in like the last DNC, I think about 10 years ago. And I ran it a couple heats at the Nats warm up, but I'm basically just breaking an engine in. So I'm not racing. So yeah, I went through that thing and got it all set up right. And it was so good, right? First lap, like, holy moly. And truggies have changed a ton in 10 years, you know. It's literally just like a big buggy. It's not a truggy anymore. Like back in the day, they were just, you know, like driving a school bus. They didn't turn very well. Like they weren't responsive. The car wasn't lively, you know. Now, totally different story. So I think I qualified like, I don't know, like 6th or something, or in 40. And then I think I was near the top of the B and in intermediate. Because I ended up, I think, 3rd in the B main, and then bumped to the A main. But no, truck was money. I didn't change anything. Just shock oil for daytime or nighttime, basically.
Yeah,
it handled the track perfect.
Well, in the pro class, Jared Thibault was your top qualifier, followed by Ryan Lutz. Ryan Lutz showed a lot of pace with the Kyosho truck. He showed a lot of pace with the Kyosho stuff, period, this weekend. Yeah. And Thibault was just heads and shoulders above everybody on that one. He had a 2 and a 0. So Ryan Mayfield was kind of quiet in 3rd, I would say. You know, he didn't TQ any runs. He did get a 2nd. Born Horse.
That's what he does.
Yeah. I think Mayfield's just like over qualifying and just like, I just need to start. I just need to be in the race, and that's it. I'm not gonna pressure myself during qualifying and have to be TQ or have to be the fastest. I don't need to be. And Joe Bornhorst, man, who I think was one of the most impressive guys of this weekend, consistent again, like, you know, just us, you know, a 4th place. And Barufalo was probably my biggest surprise in truggy. Barufalo was a big surprise, period, all weekend. He was good in qualifying. He did, you know, he kind of didn't do well in the mains, but you know, it's typical Barufalo. Shows a lot of speed in qualifying, but lacks the consistency. And truggy qualifying was pretty cool. I think, and then Ronnefalk got a TQ. He got the TQ the first run. He drove pretty good with the TLR truck. I think the guys just went and took those TLR trucks out to Rev the Monday before DNC to break them in a little bit. Like his dad was building it, and then Alex built his, and they didn't. I mean, they probably just went out there to tune their engines, got a few laps on them. That's about it. You know, that's as much truggy action as the Europeans gave.
Well, I don't think anyone really practices truggy. Like, I think even maybe some of the techno guys practice truggy, but I don't think anyone else, like, they just run truggy for track time. That's pretty much it.
I will say this with Tourney, though, watching JQ's AE truck, which was probably one of the few trucks running the old body style, it looks just so much slower out there. And it's probably a placebo thing, but it looks big and doppy. Like, it just like...
Yeah, but...
and then the other cars like...
Yeah, so, but it's pretty much like trying to fly like a bus. Like, you know, the car just lifts up, the air is below the body. Like, yeah. It is what it is. But.
Right. And then an e-buggy, which was exciting, the qualifying event, Mayfield actually obviously was fast as her. And then Bornhorst, Mr. Consistent. He looked so relaxed this race. You know what I mean? I got to interview him. So, you know, usually he doesn't speak to me, but we actually got to interview. and I talked to him twice, and him and JQ actually fist pumped. Like, you know, like, hey,
They're
congratulations. I guess. You don't know. You know, JQ
Now,
can mess up anything.
now Joseph is now the average Joe, and Joe Bornhorst is now the above average Joe.
By
before
far.
they were both before they were both average Joes, so they had this sort of animosity between them. But now they're in different sort of leagues, so they can be friends.
Yeah.
So they were battling over who was the alpha average Joe.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
now it's like, clear. Now
it's definitely clear. A great weekend for Joe. I mean, he would want to win out of one of these, but
I mean, this is more than he probably even thought he could do. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like TQ second in buggy, like and even Truggy and e-buggy, even though he didn't get the end results, like this is like I don't even remember when he had results like this with Techno. Probably like 2 years ago. Even then, like Justin Truggy.
Motivation, dude. Motivation is you know, new to prove yourself that you can do this, and to be now, I would say he's the number one SRXI in America, and to say, hey, look, you guys dropped me from this team, or you know, I'm gonna show you what I can do. And when I talked to him, he seems super relaxed. He seems to be enjoying himself, and it shows. I mean, he had a good weekend. Obviously, like I said, just not the wins, not the results. Well, Nitro Buggy was good. He would probably want to win that, but Mayfield just kind of walked away with it.
Yeah,
but
I mean, if you're racing against Mayfield, you just like wish something happens to him. Well, maybe if you're a friend, Ronnefalk, or on some days Testman, then you can like say, okay, I'm gonna beat Mayfield. But anyone else, like, no, you're not gonna beat Mayfield. That's just how it is. Ongaro, if it's a Euro style track.
Yeah, but Ruffalo, top European her, third, Ryan Lutz fourth, Cole Ogden fifth, and Ronnefalk sixth. So we gave Ronnefalk got the mark of the beast, 666, his qualifications.
Yeah.
He's 666, so people started saying all this stuff online and all this type of stuff. But I guess good qualifications. The thing that made the difference, what it was there was so much, people were making so much mistakes. If you made one little mistake on this track, you lost so much time and you just dropped like that, like a rock. And everybody was making mistakes besides guys like Joe Bornhorst and Mayfield and whatnot. I mean, and that's why you had you had Cavallari Don and C-Mains and all this type of stuff.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people.
I think your Cavallari comeback is like it's not happening, at least not now.
Maybe it don't start at DNC.
You were hyping up like this was going to be Cavallari's DNC and this was going to be.
I was wrong about that.
It wasn't.
I was definitely wrong about that. So just totally like that's how close qualifying was. I mean, like at the end of the qualifying, I was like, well, shit, who's in? Because you didn't know where people would fall. And dude, it was like some surprises there, I think. And surprises on both ends. But I think the two bump ups good. Let's talk about the e-buggy man. I know you didn't watch it, Tony, but we're gonna recap it real quick. So the e-buggy man, the two bump ups from the B were Jared Wiggins and Spencer Rivkin. Like Spencer Rivkin was in the B main. Like how weird was that? So they had that race started. It was 10 minutes, and I watched it. Obviously I'm super nervous. I'm sitting up on the scoring tower. I forgot about filming this altogether, right? Joseph is down there on the side, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, this is how I'm breathing. Like, my sphincter is doing this, and I'm just like, wow, like, this is amazing that we have, Ronnefalk's racing this car. And anyway, so they got out to the start, and I'm like, oh, Mayfield and Bornhorst. It was Mayfield, Bornhorst, Barufalo, Ronnefalk, and Lutz. They got out, and they kind of pulled away from the whole pack. Bornhorst made his mistake on that back left side. He kind of flew off the track. I don't know what happened, and like somebody didn't get him, so that pushed him back. Then on that same lap, Mayfield cased the jump, and that's when Barufalo got by. So Barufalo, Lutz, I think Barufalo, Ronnefalk, Lutz, Mayfield, Lutz went. And then, anyway, we get to that race, get through that. Barufalo makes his mistake. Mayfield makes, Ronnefalk gets by and he's in the lead. I think he's going to take over and lead this race, right? But you're still nervous. Then I'm like, hey, Lutz is catching him. Something's happening. Like, I'm like, what is going on here? Like, is Ronnefalk slowing down? Is I'm thinking like this is the Euros all over again, man. Freaking Breton like just caught him up and overtook him with like nothing left. So he makes some mistakes. Lutz gets by, and then I'm just like, I'm just all a mess up there on this scoring tower. I'm looking at Joseph. He's down below me. He's not looking at me. Anyway, it was an exciting race for me. Congratulations to Ronnefalk. He pulled it off in the end. Very emotional. I'm glad I caught it all on tape, on video. So hey, I had to talk about this race because it was so exciting for me. It was scary. You know what I mean? Ronnefalk made mistakes. Like, I'm like, what is he doing? Like, I felt my heart like, just go through like in my throat. Or whatever the saying is. That was an exciting 10 minutes where I didn't really breathe. And him and Lutz put on a very good show as well. I actually caught that where they did the side-by-side thing, coming to the triple, and going up. That thing was beautiful. Like, they didn't touch each other. And I think at that point, I was kind of like, man, if Lutz wins, I'm not even going to be angry, because he deserves it too. So,
I got to give it to Lutz. Like, new chassis. He's been out of it for like 3 years now, like subpar results, few good wins, good results, but most of the time just not his usual self. But like it was amazing to see, like the first main, and he's up there, like fighting for the win, like properly fighting for the win. So yeah, this is great. And I think people have sort of ruled out Kyosho as, the car is done.
We've done that.
Yeah, but I always said like the car is good. I think what they did with the MP10, they've gone the wrong direction a bit, but the platform itself is good, and I think they finally have a guy who can prove it properly. Berton did it, and some other guys did it, but consistently, and especially in America, I think this could be the start of something good, and I hope it is. But I was like, when Lutz was leading, I was kind of like, okay, I kind of want Lutz to win this, but then like obviously I want Ronnefalk to win. First big win for him, and it was actually great to see. Like, and obviously for Joseph, that must be like a huge, and it was like a huge, huge stone lifted from his heart, like to get that win finally.
He was
under
it was
like
good.
A big win under a car at this time.
It was good. Talking to Lutz in the pits, he's happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that many Kyosho cars at a race in a minute, so that's good for them. Maybe this will be the Red Army comeback. So we'll see. Truggy, Tourney, how'd you make out in your Truggy, man?
The intermediate B, I won. I think it was 15 minutes. Just got out front, didn't crash. Ran like 80% and bumped up, and then 40 plus. I think that was the one that I missed a lap. I don't remember exactly, but I went. No, it was the intermediate A. I went from 14th to second or third on the first lap and never touched a car. So there was a lot of carnage, which I was hoping for. And I just kind of drove around everything. And after the first lap, I think I was in third because I think Wally was in first. And then he flipped over in the tables in the front. And I think second place hit his truck upside down and broke it right away. So he was out really early. And then I just kind of cruised around second and third. Guys were catching me, and I wasn't really duking it out for position. So I think I would have ended up about sixth. They missed a lap, so on live RC it's like 10th or something. And then 40 plus, I think I was like seventh or something. I didn't really record it in my mind, but I was right around mid-pack. It was
right.
Like I was talking to Babcock after the race. I think Tuesday when we got home, somebody noticed that it missed my lap and messaged me, and I'm like, I don't care. That doesn't dictate my weekend. I had like the funnest freaking time at a race, like you said, in years, you know. So I was like, yeah, it looks like it did miss a lap, but I don't care. It's cool. Yeah. That doesn't dictate my experience, you know. So
that's cool, because that's something I want to touch on the end here. I wanted to ask your opinion. How did you find the starts with no straightaway, kind of staggered out through some turns?
Yeah.
How did you find it? You said you just waited, kind of wadded through the carnage. Was that where most of the carnage was for you?
Yeah. No, the carnage came in that berm, like the berm gravity cavity.
Mm-hmm.
From there to the triple. I mean, I think on that first lap, excuse me, like Max was saying, there was somebody flipped over in the triple somewhere,
mm-hmm.
and I just let it fly because it's the first lap. I mean, everybody is close. I got the most opportunity to pass cars, and I think I passed on the second triple. I passed either 3 or 4 trucks just on that one jump. I don't know. I couldn't remember which, but there was a gaggle of them down in there just killing each other. And I landed and then just did the double and rolled over and just like, I couldn't have done it any better. If I had 100 more starts in that main, I couldn't have done it any better. You know, like just lucked out. But yeah, I just sent it through the triple. My truck, I don't think I missed the triple, maybe a dozen times the entire week. Like I come around and do the first one. I said, dude, the thing just did it every time, you know, whether the track was fresh, whether it was old, it didn't care. Like I said, my cars didn't really get affected by the bumps. We kept up with setup changes pretty well, but yeah, I like that section. I like the starts. I don't mind not having a straightaway. Seems to be kind of a topic for a lot of people, but I didn't really mind it. I didn't notice it really, you know. I think the track was so fun and busy enough to where you just didn't even notice it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. I enjoyed the starts. I think I filmed mostly all the starts of the mains, at least the first lap, and they weren't as bad as you would think they were, but it was true. Once you got to that triple section, it was like make or break it. Like people were like, like dive bombing into that berm. And I was like, oh my gosh. You just see like 2 cars going up, railing that berm. Oh, that was so rad. All right, Pro Main. Let's talk about that real quick. So that started. And Pro Truck Main. I think the 2 bump ups were, let's see, let me bring this up. Bring up some results there too, Max, for yourself. Truck Main. The Truck Main.
Mayfield won. Surprise.
But I'll be honest, it wasn't as
it wasn't a dominating win.
No,
I gotta be honest. Like,
took a few minutes. Yeah.
Tessman, without that one crash, I think exiting the pits, like without.
Well, let me tell you about. I'll tell you about that lap because I watched that whole lap on Valum. I watched that whole lap on Valum.
Like, so Tessman didn't get a good start, and he was he was 20 seconds behind at the when sort of everything settled, like the first pit stop's over, 20 seconds back of Mayfield. Insane. And then like he got down to, I think the best he got down to was like 6 or 5, and then he had that lap where he crashed.
Yep. So that lap, okay, so the start of the race, it was Thibault was out front, Mayfield, Ronnefalk, I think, was there, and then I think it was like Barufalo and Tessman. Maybe not Barufalo, but definitely it was Tessman kind of in 4th, or is that 4th? Yeah, I can't remember, 4th or 5th, coming back. And they kind of started to pull away, and then obviously Ronnefalk kind of went on that triple, and then he said he just landed on the pipe there and snapped, like broke first TLR.
I heard a lot of TLRs had issues with arms pulling out. Like I think he said the arms was like intact, but he just pulled out. So I think Cavalieri had that same issue as well. But
yeah, he did. I saw where
especially in the trucks. Like I think I heard. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they said just pulled out, which was
all 3 of them almost the same issue. So after that, kind of Mayfield and Thibault went at it, like they were kind of battling on his own, and then Mayfield got in. I think Thibault made a mistake, and Mayfield got in front of him. And I think Thibault flamed. And when Thibault flamed, he flamed after he came over the loop. And he flamed like, it was so weird where he flamed. Like he flamed almost going up to pit lane. Almost.
So we were sitting on top of the big corner tall jump.
I saw that.
We were sitting on the hay bales, and his truck came around, and it was all bwop, bwop, bwop. It was running out of gas. Going by us, and he coasted around, hit the loop, and rolled down into the gravity cavity, and then back up on that tabletop, and it was dead. Like, that was the luckiest flame out in the history of RC racing.
And it was good because I think he called out on the radio to his pit guy that, hey,
he was already
flaming out. He was there when he flamed out. His pitman was there already. So that was amazing.
Graham was right there. Yeah, they definitely knew it was flaming out because when he came around us, it was, when you're running out of fuel, it's like brep, and we were like, oh, he's gonna run out, but he crossed the loop, so he only lost, I don't know, 6 or 8 seconds probably.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Yeah. So and that left Connor Tessman chasing Mayfield on, right?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you how that lap where I was like, and Mayfield was making some uncharacteristic mistakes. Like he wasn't just running away with this. And I'm watching him like
he went from like 20 to 12 in like 3 laps because Mayfield was just like making dumb mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So like he lost a lot of ground like just on his own.
So I think Barufalo was, I swear it was Barufalo. I swear this was Barufalo. Coming out to that triple before we went up to the hip jump right there, Tourney. Like that triple that comes towards the bleachers. Like Tessman was coming to lap him or something like that. And then Barufalo just I thought it was Barufalo, but somebody just blasted those guys right at that jump. And like Tessman kind of flipped over in that jump, and it took a while for the turn marshal to come get him. And then he went in the pit, and Gord and his mom did an excellent pit. But dude, Gord freaking I have to get up. I have to show you how he did it because he went like this. He gripped that car and he went back like this, like Berlin, and launched that car. I'm watching this and I'm like, whoa! Like Gord launched it so hard, like the car landed almost like in the dirt, like off the ramp. And I was like, I was like, oh, he's got it, and then like it kind of caught that hay bale, and I was like, oh my gosh. And it's funny because I talked to Gord and I went to interview Ty and those guys, and the next day it's like, yes, it was my fault. I threw it too hard. And he was telling me, and I was like, dude, what was you thinking? Like, you was like, you launched that thing so hard. Like, and he's like, I don't know. I just got excited.
Dude, pit lane was like ice.
I
mean, it is so slick. As soon as I would come down to pit and I would get up onto pit lane, I'd just let off the gas and just let the car roll. Because if you hit the gas or anything, it just starts doing this, and pit lane's not wide enough. It's not wide enough.
Especially Chuggy. Chuggy.
Oh, dude. I blasted some guy's hand in our Chuggy main because he actually like punted me going into pit lane. It was the weirdest thing ever. Like, we're racing into pit lane. Okay. So he gets in front of me and I'm right behind him. And I just let off, like I said, as soon as you go up the hump, and his pit guy goes like this to grab his truck, and I'm right there. Boom! Just smack his hand hard as hell. And I'm like, where am I going to go? There's this much space on either side of my truggy in pit lane. There's nowhere to go, But yeah, I just totally cleaned his pit guy's hand out. But I mean, throwing a car out like Gord was doing, dude. Holy cow. Like,
dude, it was hard. I tell you what.
You could break right there. Where those hay bales were at the end. I mean,
he's lucky.
Yeah.
And he still caught up after that, though. Yeah. He still did catch up.
Yeah. He's flying. Yeah.
I was flying. He was the fastest truggy out
this
there.
Was also like I think this was sort of a vindicative weekend for Ty, Bornhorst. A lot of these guys, like Lutz too. Like a lot of these guys who've been sort of struggling at some events, like this was sort of back to the normal. Like Ty finishing on the podium in each class. Oh no, sorry, E-Buggy, he missed it, but on Chuggy and Buggy, he finished on the podium. And like, yeah, I think that this is like a good result for Ty, and he actually like Druggy, like he was fighting for the win. Like it's like that's how it was. They were actually fighting for the win, even though he like went a bit back in the end, but it was good. But yeah, the pit lane was funny though. Like
without that takeout in the middle that you were talking about, yeah, he was going to be right there, because once you catch sight of the person that you're chasing, like you get within 3 to 5 seconds, you pick it up just a little bit more. You
can see like when they come across the front jumps, you can see the car, and just like every time it's closer, you're picking it up, and then the guy in front makes a mistake or slows down because he starts to see you too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It would have been a great race. I will tell you this: the pits are much faster with both the mom and dad Tessmans in there. Gord was slow on his own. No offense, Gord. But with them, they were like back to this normal fast pits.
Yeah, I could be honest. Like last year, everyone said like Gord's slow or whatever.
Yeah, on his own, he wasn't as fast.
Like, okay, maybe he's not that bad. But now with Leander, like those people were fast. Like again, like Tessman, like he had like it was crazy because most people, even in buggy, like people had pit laps of like 46, 47. Tessman's every single pit lap was like 45. Like these guys were on it. Like he was super fast pit stops again. So,
but he admitted to that throw was a bit overzealous. He even said that to me the next day. It was funny because I'll tell you how that I went to say, hey, you guys are gonna do the warm up, because I forgot that they didn't make the A. Like, no, we didn't make the A, and I said, ooh, I'm sorry, and it's like, no, it's all right. I forgot that they didn't make the A main. Then I thought they were going off an A main warm up, and I wanted to interview him, but I got some good interviews with him. All right, yeah. So that ended Thursday night. I think that was the longest night we was there. We got home. I think I got home after 12, and I was up to about 3, putting up video. So, and then nobody told me we wasn't going early in the morning, so I was up again at 6.
That's a little RC racing joke. You always get your guys up early.
Yeah. So. We headed out to the track, Nitro Buggy. Nitro is the glory. This is for all the marbles. This is the last day. The party's still going. They had the racecraft Rager and all that. That's another thing I wanted to touch on. The atmosphere was awesome. Like, dude, it was like there was kids everywhere just running around. There was people, just drinking beer. It was like camp life. Like, it was so many people there just having fun, like, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think that's that most enjoyable thing I enjoyed about it.
Yeah, I think that sort of racecraft, like the atmosphere these brands have like brought up, I think that's something I've been kind of missing in RC. I mean, there has been some of that, but I think these brands sort of live by it.
Yeah.
So it's great to see that sort of brought up there. Like JQ pits were always great. Like there's always stuff happening at the JQ pits in America. So like I think that sort of atmosphere has been missing for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's good to see that.
You can see that everybody was happy to kind of be there. The Europeans being there, kind of up the level.
That too.
There's just people walking around with beers, like, come have a beer, like just a great atmosphere. Like everybody's smiling, having fun. I was like, oh fuck, like you couldn't help not having fun with them. Like that's the cool thing about it. So Nitro Buggy Day, the buzz was on, that's my day. I was like pumped, like Saturday I was dead. Saturday it all caught up to me. I didn't do much online. I kind of saved it for the finals. I was so tired, but Sunday with Nitro Buggy, I was like, all right, let's go. This is for all the marbles, and I enjoyed this day too to the fullest. I went up and started watching this race from Sportsman. Whatever the first A main of the day was, I was up there watching it for that time and that spot until the A main. So I was up there for about 2.5 hours just standing watching racing on Sunday, the last day. So one thing I did miss. I did miss the Pro B main. How did I miss that?
Too.
I missed probably one of the best races. I missed it. And who did bump up from the Pro B man though?
Tessman like dominated.
Yes.
But then behind him there's some good racing happening.
Let's see. Race
I remember who was
results.
the other guy.
Nitro 40 plus. Nitro. Okay, here we go. So it was Tessman and Cole Ogden bumped up. Man, there are some big names in this B main, like Seth Van Dalen, Spencer Hackett, Robert Badier. Robert had a bad DNC. Tanner Denny, not a good showing for him on the S-Works car. Even one better than that. Renault Savoya, 7th. Tyler Jones, wouldn't be happy not being in the A main. Aiden Horn, Jared Wiggins, Cavallari. Woo! That's a stacked freaking B main, dude.
That's an A main and a few nationals.
Yeah. Those guys would not be happy with the results. Like, they would want to be in that A main. But I mean, if so much competition, it's hard, man. It's hard. It's hard to be.
By the way,
main.
I want to shout out Lil Bump from the C main.
Yes.
This kid like straight up beat Cavallari, like straight up just beat him. Like that was insane. Like he was on it. He held his lines. He was racing against Cavallari, and I can't remember who was the other guy. Figueredo, I think. And yeah, he held his ground, and yeah, it was amazing to see. He's definitely super fast these days.
I gotta watch those mains, but he came over to our pits quite a few times. He's a cool little kid. I just met him at this race for the first time. He's 9, and Vicky just loves this kid. He is the cutest little thing.
Oh, she would definitely love him.
He is so cute. He comes over, and I was like, "How did your race go?" And he's like, "Well, I would have TQ'd, but I got caught by some whappers, you know." And he's got that. And I'm like, "Did you just say whappers?" Like,
yeah.
Oh my God, come over here! You're the cutest little thing there is, you know. But he's super. This kid is awesome, you know. And his dad come over. We talked for a long time. They're the definition of the great little RC family, you know, like. We go to the races. However he does. It's not a big, you know, it's not a deal breaker, you know. And where was it? Just last year he was running intermediate. Now
I think he's been running pro now since last year.
Yeah, since last DNC. That's what I mean. Like the last DNC, he was running intermediate. And
no, I don't even think he went to intermediate in DNC.
He
went sportsman to pro.
No, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Well, I think Little Bump's definitely a future star of RC if he keeps it up.
Oh,
and he knows who else he looks for.
Young.
No
Cody.
Yeah,
he's always looking for Cody.
Yeah, Cody and him are pretty good pals. A lot, I think.
Yeah.
I've seen some TikToks they've done. those guys are pretty close, I believe. But yeah, this kid's like so young, like, and he's already like B main at DNC. That ain't no joke. That's good.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
2 years and he'll be top 5.
I think so.
Yeah.
2 years.
I think so. Before 16, he'll be a professional.
And there's no stopping him. There's no stopping.
Yeah.
There's no slowing it down. Like the kid is just so good. I have to go back and watch him, but I watched some of the other races he was in, and I was like, wow. Yeah. I've never driven like that ever. And the kid's 9. Like,
and it's interesting, but he races quite smart too. He's not like because some of these young kids, they just like they don't see the other cars at the track. But he I saw him check up a few times, held his ground. Like he understands what he's doing too. Like obviously he probably doesn't think too much when he drives. Because you're freaking 9. Like, what would you think about? But like he knows what he's doing. He knows like how to keep his car on the track and all that. So, like, I know.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. It won't be more than a couple of years, and he'll be duking it out with these guys because he is that smart, and he does already think about that stuff. You know, I don't know if his dad's on the headsets telling him, helping him. Either way, he's comprehending that you cannot push 100% every lap you're on the track. You know, it's up, it's down, it's up, but you have to be careful. There's a car coming in, and you know, it's those things that are clicking already, which is crazy. Yeah.
And he's just so cute.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
It's just like you just want to hug him and take him.
Like this tall. He's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because the stand he stands on the driver's stand, like it's probably bigger than him. Like he carries it around always.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's so small.
All right. Shout out to Lil Bump. Let's talk about Nitro Buggy qualifying. So, like I said, Mr. Consistent Joe Bornhorst, TQ in round 3, had a 3 in round 1 and an 8 in round 2. I think none of us would have picked Joe Bornhorst to TQ DNC, but he did.
Oh, yeah, no.
And
that was a big surprise. But funny enough, like actually looking at him on the track, he looked like the guy who like was the obvious pick. It was weird because like prior to qualifying starting, no one's gonna pick Joe Bornhorst to qualify against like Ronnefalk and Mayfield and all these guys. But yeah,
biggest surprise of round 1 for me, Frankie Contreras Jr., 7th. Wow.
Yeah.
Another young up and coming racer, you know. He raced intermediate at this race last year and won all 3 classes. He's moved up to pro. 7th, that 7th actually helped him a lot because that was his best run. He had a 7th and a 16th, and those 2 got him. I think he qualified 12th overall. So congratulations to Frankie Contreras. I finally met him and his dad. Cool, nice, very nice people. Jared Thibault, another solid 2nd, I think. Mayfield, a quiet 3rd spot. And Ongaro, a nice quiet 4th. You know, there was not much about Ongaro all week. And then he's got like a 4th, you know. And then, sorry, hold on. Am I looking at the right thing here? No, sorry. Ryan Lutz, 5th. Great qualifying for him. Very good run. David Ronnefalk had a lot of bad luck. I think in his first run of his qualifying, he was actually probably going to finish 2nd for the run and flipped in that triple, like flipped, a quarter flipped over in the middle. And then when he went over, it took a while to get him, and then his transponder stopped counting. So they gave him a whatever, and he finished during the first round. He TQ'd his 2nd round, I think, and it looked great. And then on the 3rd round, he just was off pace. You know what I mean? Made some mistakes and wasn't able to catch. And I was like, is he going to make the main? But that TQ saved him. That's how spread out the points were. You know what I mean? That he had those 2 so-so runs out of the top 15 finishes and was still able to make the main and started 6th. I think the other 2 surprising people we can say, I say the time of Mason Fuller is here. He has arrived. 7th, Jackson Brunson 8th. I think Jackson Brunson 8th at DNC qualifying. Great. Never would have called that. CJ Jalen 9th. I never would have thought that either. You know, so great to see these guys qualifying well. And Barufalo 10th and Fenn way off pace. Normally, you know, I'm expecting to see Fenn in the fight for TQ for this. And he's done an 11th, like just barely, you know, he had a 59, he had a 2, and he had a 20. So just, he's so, like, it's so far off the spectrum there, you know what I mean? So, like, complete struggle bus to a 2nd to back to struggle bus.
I think it's just this track. Like you could see in qualifying, a lot of these guys were just, like, going really fast, and then when they crashed, they just, like, kind of gave up. Mm-hmm. But Mayfield had a pretty good qualifying in buggy because when he crashed, he just kept going like nothing happened. And because everyone crashed, he was still like 2nd or 3rd every round. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something like David, for example. I saw him a few rounds. Like he was doing TQ pace. Then he crashed once. Would have had like 2nd for the round if he just kept going. But then he sort of like tried to get that time back and had issues. I think Fend, I didn't watch Fend, but I'm most likely that's what happened to him as well, because these guys are the type of drivers to go full speed all the time. So I think it just, like, on tracks like this, you have to know that you can crash and still be fast, because this is how the track is, especially in qualifying. In the mains, it was very different. I think the mains, it was actually easier for a lot of these guys than in qualifying because it's nighttime and the track's smoother. You have more time on the track, so you can pick your lines and all that. You're getting the rhythm, and yeah.
How did you find your qualifying, Tourney? So you was racing this day. Was you doing 40 plus and intermediate as well?
Yeah, I sucked in buggy. Totally.
Yeah.
My car was great. I think I had good runs going every time, but I found a new way to screw it up every time. So I was terrible in buggy. My first qualifier, I think my servo unplugged. So I got like a goose egg that one. Buggy was super good to drive. And I was looking at my lap times, and like I didn't need to try to go fast. I was on pace, but I just would hit a hole or hit a lap car or whatever. Just buggy was like the complete opposite of truggy for me. But another thing that we haven't talked about is with how qualifying and pro buggy and the main and everything shook out. So remember a couple weeks or maybe even a month before this race, how many people were saying, oh, all the locals are going to have all the advantages. They're going to the track. They're out there racing 2-3 times a week. Mm-hmm. They're going to be all dialed in. And we're watching, like Thibault flew out and Tyler Jones flew out. TLR was there like every week, testing, running their cars, et cetera, et cetera. Guess who didn't go out there? Bornhorst. And he TQ'd the whole thing.
Yeah.
Mayfield didn't go out there.
He went out there. He did.
Did he?
He did after what's that race that was at the San Diego, the 10-scale race in San Diego?
Oh, Top Gun or whatever.
Yeah, he went out there.
And J Concepts was there for a bit, like the whole J Concepts team.
They went there after that
before,
race.
Yeah, but they went there. I think
Bornhorst
before New Year's or after, but yeah, there was a lot of people have gone to this track, but yeah, Bornhorst, like he was here before New Year's, I believe, or early January or something. But yeah, he hasn't been here for a while, and I'm just over all this like advantage bullshit. Like, come on, you go out there. If the track suits you, it suits you. If the dirt suits you, it suits you.
Yep.
And most of the time, the best guy wins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, with as many bumps on the track as there were, every single one of those guys got their ass kicked by one of them. Mm-hmm. Every single guy on the property. So it's like, I mean, you just have to execute, and I mean, maybe even get just a little bit lucky somewhere, like Thibault flaming out right before the loop. Dude,
mm-hmm.
That was the difference between losing 8 or 10 seconds to going a lap and a half down right there. Just that one little thing. So these races, there's all kinds of little things that affect the results. But I thought it was funny that everybody was like, oh, the locals, especially in intermediate, because most of the, intermediate top 25, most of them are locals, and they run there a lot. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Like you said, the fastest guy is going to win, the best driver, the smartest driver,
Yeah, I mean, that in intermediate, Trent as a Florida race has only been to California once, and Cody was there as well. He's been to California a few times. In the intermediate, they were in the intermediate e-buggy main, and Trent finished third. And I think Cody finished sixth because he finished fifth in the intermediate nitro main, and probably could have won in the main if he had been on matching tires. I think all his tires came unglued at the start.
Oh, jeez.
So he was on like 3 different tires. So yeah, I mean,
maybe it was better. Who knows?
Yeah. But there's fast people all over. And this track, I think. The amount of bumps and jumps and the track itself, just like the track was gnarly, like, you know what I mean? And it just people who were able to go a little bit fast and be consistent and crash at least or make up for their crashes, done well. So at the end of the day, like Max said, there's always going to be some advantages. You know what was upsetting? We didn't get to see like Elliott Boots and Canas over her, which would have been great.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't think I gotta be honest. I don't think Canas and Elite Boost would have done too well at this race. The way they drive, I don't think it suits this style track that well. But I, like just having these guys go around these races builds that sort of it builds the idea and the sort of prestige to these races that okay, we are the top guys. We go around, we race against the top guys. But right now, like all this sort of bullshit about oh you have advantage, this is what that, like it's just making it worse for everyone. So yeah, I think again, Bornhorst didn't go out there to practice and he DQ'd. So.
Yep. Yeah.
Here's the start of the Pro Nitro Buggy main here. Anyway, the atmosphere leading up to this was crazy. Let's talk about this real quick. What was the king out there thinking with the tramper filling? He must have been filling in that hole that you was talking about, Tourney.
I don't know. I don't know what the whole idea there was, because you're not going to remove the hole.
Right.
When Scotty went out there, I was watching it because we went back to the hotel room and I was watching it from there. Mm-hmm. And Scotty went out on the live RC thing and he's like, what's going on? What are we doing? I think they were saying, oh, it's unsafe for a marshal to run down in here, you know? I mean, it's arguable. That hole is deep. Like, I wouldn't marshal that all weekend. That it was so steep, and like you said, if one guy wads it up in there, you got eight or 10 more cars coming. I'd just wait for them to all go, you know. And if they all wad up, then they all wad up, you know. And I don't know. I can't imagine that he intentionally went out there to try to smooth the track out.
Right. I just think he saw it as a whole, like, and was like, hey, this needs to be fixed.
Yeah, like that was not even the worst spot on the track, you know what I mean? So if he was doing it to try to smooth the track out, I think he would have done it somewhere else, you know?
Yeah.
Just me. I mean,
I was just like, what is he doing? He's supposed to be doing that.
Yeah. I don't really know, like, one shovel and guy on the track, like before the main trying to fix it, like I don't even know why. And even if he fixed it properly, what would have helped? Like, because everyone's running on the same track. It's not like the AE guys are only guys who crashed there. And looking at their weekend, I gotta be honest here. Like
it didn't help.
Like even fixing that bump wouldn't have given them any help. Like they barely made the mains, and it's like Ungara was there, but even him was like struggling. So
exactly, that's what I mean. That one bump ain't gonna make a shit of difference, you know.
Yeah,
it was Yeah, I don't know what they were doing, but that was definitely weird. I don't think I've ever seen that.
I've never seen it either. But I just had to mention it because it was on the internet a lot, and it wasn't a shovel, people. It was a tramper. It was he was scraping on the sides of the berm with a tramper and then tramping that hole. So anyway, so the start of the race started. It was I mean, this is what everybody was here for. The atmosphere was great. Like, people were screaming, drinking, like, you know, everybody, like, when they were introducing, I think Cole Ogden got the biggest, I think he got the biggest applause. And you could just feel it. Like, this was Nitro Buggy here at DNC. And when it started, I just kind of, you know, I was nervous. My nervous kind of went away when, like, Ronnefalk fell way to the back. I was like, all right, now I can focus on the race a little bit more. But, man, Joe Bornhorst and Mayfield just kind of just kind of got out to a lead, and just that was it. Like, I mean, nobody had nothing for either of them. I think once they got out to that lead, and then that whole backpack of guys were just, the race was really from third on to sixth and seventh. And
but I mean, it was already on the first lap. They had like what's it, 5 minutes done, and Thibault is like 15 seconds behind. So like straight from the start, like they just got like, neither had anything happen. They had a clean start, and everyone behind them just crashed all the time.
So, it was cluster behind them.
Yeah,
it was so bad.
Yeah, but I mean, it was interesting. I'm really disappointed that sort of does not see Fend and Ronnefalk get out front in the start, because looking at these guys' laps, like just their race pace was like so good. Fend made a lot of dumb mistakes because Fend was like.
So did Ronnefalk, man. He made mistakes in the beginning too.
He made too, but like Fend was like fast. He was like faster than last year. But he's just like, he had the third place locked down. And if he would have just kept clean laps till the end, he probably would have ended up second, because he was like, his best laps like over half a second faster than Mayfield. He's like top 5 laps was like so fast, but he just crashed a lot. I think Ronnefalk was very consistent, like super consistent. He ran low 40s like very consistently at when he was alone and trying to catch up, because he was like, he had one lap that was almost a minute. So he was, Bornhorst, like coming into the first pits, Bornhorst was right behind him. So he got a really,
he almost got lapped
start.
by Bornhorst.
Yeah. So that was like, I'm in that sense, I would have liked to see what would have happened, because in my opinion, Fend and Ronnefalk looked the fastest out there. Fend most likely would have crashed because he ended up 4th anyway, even though he had a huge lead on David at one point. But I would have liked to see if Mayfield could have held both of these guys off. Most likely he probably could have, because he just kept, like, he didn't make any mistakes. Like, he just kept at it. But it would have been nice to see sort of a race for the win, because I think that would have been really possible had everyone, like, on the top back had a good start.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. Go ahead, Tony. Go ahead. Sorry.
Mayfield's not pushing when he's got a lead. So,
yeah,
Dakota down in 10th. Oh, I'll put $100 on the table. He's going to throw down a heater. But like you said, he's going to have the next 3 laps are going to be 47s, 45s.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're in 12th, you better throw down a hot lap. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think anybody had the consistency to.
No, David definitely had. Because I went through laps one by one. Like David did, I think, I can't remember, like full tank of laps under 41. So that was like no one had anything similar to that.
He was also the only one doing 9-minute pits too.
Yeah. So like David was next level in terms of like consistency. Like he caught up like 15 seconds to like Tessman in like 2 tanks.
Yeah.
Like just driving, not like crashes or anything, just like on track, like pace wise. So like that's why I would be interested to see, like, could Mayfield have matched that? Because like Fend was definitely fast on like his fast lap. He could do like 39.6 or 39.7, whatever was best lap. Then he could 39.9 and then low 40, but then he'd always crash. So he had these 3 lap sort of stretches where he had super good pace, and then he'd always crash. And that's why Fend was closer to Bornhorst and Mayfield at the start of the race than he was at the end. But like Ronnefalk was the opposite. He was actually closer to the front guys after the first pit stops. Like he was further away after the first pit stops than he was at the end. So that's why I'm interested to see, like I would have been interested to see, like, could he have actually matched them? I think, but I gotta be honest, I think Mayfield would have still won it. But I'm just, I would like to see the race. Because,
I know what you mean.
But I just mean like Fend, unless Fend's in the front,
yeah.
Unless he's in the top 3 halfway through the race, I think it's.
I kind of agree.
I'll say it. I think it's blowout. Like, it's heater and then 2 marshals, and then heater and then 2 marshals.
I kind of get that, but Fend's speed is like, but I think that's how he bases his races. He tries to be so fast that he can crash. I think that's just like they've chosen, like him and Barry Baker, like maybe they talked about it, most likely not, but they have made the decision, unconscious or not, like they have made the decision that this is the way they approach their racing. we try to be so much faster than everyone else that we can just crash whenever we want. So I think that's what Fenn tries to do. And that's why he needs to get out front, so he knows, like, okay, now I cannot crash, now I can. But when he's all the way back, like he was here, he doesn't really know. So he doesn't know where he can push. So he just pushes all the time, and then he just makes mistakes. I think that's what happens to him. And I think that's why he blows out, because when he doesn't have that sort of knowledge of where I actually am I leading, am I not, or could I catch these guys or not, then he just starts to make just like dumb mistakes. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think Mayfield, like, he's just so good at these races. Like DNC, like this is his best race always. I think, I don't know if it's his driving style or he's just knows how these tracks work, or what is it, but he's just like, he always seems like he's comfortable. That's to me, that's the interesting part, because a lot of these other guys can be fast, can challenge him, but very rarely you can see like, oh, this guy's comfortable. Where Mayfield always looks comfortable.
Yeah, his cars just look great. I mean,
yeah,
and they look like they're really easy to drive. Like you don't
but
see,
but I doubt they
huge corrections everywhere.
Yeah, but like the thing is, like looking at his setups and knowing how like the car is, I don't think they are that easy, which is interesting. I think he's just that good at making it look that good, because like Robert didn't look good. Like any other of the Mugen guys didn't look that good. That's always interesting about Mayfield, where I think it's just that he's one with the car and he knows what to do. And that's so interesting about him. I think he's just so talented. Like obviously Mugen is a good car. I'm not saying that it's anything less, but I think it's more of that he knows what he needs to do and he knows how to do it 45 minutes at tracks like this.
For sure, but the setup you read is not completely.
True.
There's a few significant changes that they do that make it way good on these tracks. So
something I wanted to add, Mayfield was wearing, I don't know if they were glasses or just protection from the wind.
Yeah, they're just like small goggles.
Okay, so they weren't like prescription glasses or anything. But yeah, I mean, what can we say? Like he saves his. He says, "Yeah, I may not be the fastest in qualifying, but this is where it counts."
Yeah,
and he got out to a lead, and he made zero mistakes, and you win. It's simple as that. And while all the rest of the guys are battling in the back to get up to you, you can just turn it on and off when you want to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let them kill each other back there. Yeah.
This is exactly what he done at the Nationals. Exactly what he done at the Nationals.
Yeah, it is, but it's different from like Ongaro, because Ongaro just kills people with how fast he is. Mm-hmm. But Mayfield doesn't do that. He drains the guy behind you, because when he sees you pick up the pace, he does it too. Mm-hmm. So he wears you out, and then when you crack, he keeps going. So that's I think it's more mental than it might seem. He's definitely fast. Like most of the time, if you look at like a long range, he's the fastest guy out there. But on top of that, he doesn't crack. You rarely see him make that sort of, like we saw that at Southern Nuts last year, where Fend made him crack, but that's very rare. You very rarely see that happen to him.
Mm-hmm.
So Ongaro is like Fend, but less mistakes. He can he can throw it down in the first round of qualifying and have the fastest times all through the weekend, but he's much more consistent,
Yeah, and I think he sort of has a race plan and he sticks to it.
Yep.
Whereas Fend just tries to be fast and then something happens and he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, it's a reaction, Exactly. Yeah.
I think I also agree with you, Lax. I would have liked to have seen maybe him. It's a lot of would have, should have, could have. But maybe if Ronnefalk wouldn't have had such a bad start, he would have been in the mix. But that's racing, you know. And when I talked to him afterwards, he wasn't happy with 5th. He's like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But I want to win. You know what I mean? And I know Bornhorst would want to win too, but I think a good second for him is good. And I think these guys that battled it out from behind were the real race, and just Mayfield, man. I mean, what can we say? He does it again, and it's like until somebody finds a way to stop this, he's gonna do it over and over again. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens here at the Worlds.
To me, the scary part about this is, I think David was the only guy who seemed close, and I think even he probably wouldn't have won it in the end. So that's, to me, the scary part. Obviously, the Worlds will be completely different. I think, like we saw it in Perth, like Mayfield had all the keys to like the car probably was good. He had an OS engine in the main. There was sort of no excuses at that point. But on tracks like that, he isn't as dominant. And Ongaro with his raw pace could just dominate over him. So I think that will be an issue of him at the Worlds again. But this time he's better off like going into the Worlds. Like the way he's dominated for the past year, like that's like very rarely have we seen like an American guy like this. Like Tessman was the last guy to do this.
I would agree there. Very good race for him, man. His program is just his whole race program's good right now. You know what I mean? And he's the top driver. I will say this. I think the Euros suffered from that was close, wasn't it? Yeah. I'm not making excuses, but I will say maybe a little bit of rust. It's been a long time since they've raced each other, but to be at a race on this level where the Americans have been racing for so long, I'm just saying maybe just a little bit, but no, man. Mayfield just blew these guys' doors off. Simple as that.
But being honest, like David is the only guy who races at grip levels like this. Like like Finland, Sweden, anymore. Like these days, Denmark isn't even like that. But basically, Finland, Sweden, maybe like Estonia, like that's the only places where you have this type of soft dirt. Like anywhere south from there, it's so hot. The dirt is always like rolled out. A lot of these tracks use sugar or something like that, and it's very abrasive, high speed, no jumps, or if the jumps are they're very low. So like someone like Robert, like he shouldn't do good at these races. Like I was surprised in 2018 to see him do that well, finishing, I believe he finished second. But like, I'm not surprised that the Euros didn't do that well, because like, and also like Ungaro's, like the way Ungaro and Canada set up their cars and the way these cars actually are, like they aren't made for tracks like this. So yeah, it
is what it is.
I'm not even surprised. Like I feel like when we saw Ungaro and Robert and David be like on the top, like fighting for the win each time at DNC, I think that was just like Americans underperforming. Now Americans have picked up their level, especially Mayfield. And now we see sort of where the Euro should be. That's my take on it.
Okay. I could deal with that. Tourney, your synopsis on the whole Pro A-Main, and then we'll move on to a few more like what we didn't like, and then finish up on the DNC cover, on the DNC recap.
Yeah, we watched that. I watched it from the hotel room, and it was pretty amazing to see, Ryan just throw laps down again. Like we've been saying, he's not gonna set the world on fire with a fast lap, but it's like 10, 15 in a row, and over the long haul, that's what it's all about. He knows that now. Like 10 years ago, he would go out there and try to set hot lap, whether it was the main, the qualifier, practice, didn't matter. Wanted to be the fastest guy, period. Now it's totally changed. And it's it's a 45-minute race, and he just chips away and chips away and chips away, and pretty soon he's 10 seconds out front. And catching somebody on this track, dude, it's not happening. I mean, in any of the classes, because the top 20 guys in every single class are right there together, you're not going to reel anybody in, So at that point, you have to hopefully he makes a mistake or a bad pit or something like that. And everything like that's solid. So, yeah, I mean, he's on top. He'll be on top till somebody can take him down. I don't see it happening here for a while. I mean, Jared's right there with him. They had a good battle in the truck, but it's hit or miss. I think Mayfield goes into every single race with the most confidence out of all these guys. He walks into the race, I can win this race.
Yeah, I think he does. I think in his brain he's thinking that.
Yeah, and I don't know how many other guys can actually honestly think that to themselves. I can win this race. I can win this weekend. So yeah, it was good to watch. It was the track made the race really interesting.
Yeah. I just wanted to go over. So Ty Tessman was third. I think that was, dude, after being in the B main.
Yeah,
third. He'll take third. That's a good result for him. He was definitely not a third place driver all week, but
I think Tony made a good points in our notes that he shouldn't qualify in the B. No,
he shouldn't.
No matter if he has a decent weekend, medium weekend, bad weekend, no matter how his weekend is, at the worst, he should be 8th after qualifying.
Yeah.
Since he joined X-Ray, he's been back at times, but he's never been fully back. I think you can just lock it in that, he's not a pillable guy. I think at this point, you just gotta say it, because this guy was the dominant guy. He was young. He was I don't know, barely 21 or 22, something like that. He won the Worlds, won every single race in America pretty much, dominated everything, and then just slightly has fallen off, and now he just wins one race here and there. That's good. Yeah, other people have probably picked up as well. Okay, but this guy was the guy for since 2012 up to 2015-16.
So think about this: if you handed him an HB car, would he improve immediately?
At this point, I gotta say yes. Yeah,
I think so too.
Yeah, because I think so too. I just don't think he's never really gelled with this car. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then throw in the tire change, engine change, being stuck in Canada for a couple years.
Yeah, that didn't help for sure.
So I think, but a good comeback. You shouldn't be in the B, but a good comeback. Put your head, man, his engine sounded the best all weekend. Them things sounded as nickname was scalded cockroaches on a hot tin roof. Okay. Man, I have to say this. The time of the Iceman has cometh. Mason Fuller, 6th. What can we say about this young man? He's getting better each race, not on pace with these guys, but 6th place. He's loving the HB, talking to him. He's enjoying it. He says, I'm faster with it than I was with my TLR. And I mean, he's the top HB guy. 7th is Thibault. He wouldn't be happy with that. He would want a better result than that. Thibault would want to win or first place. Or third or top 3. Jackson Brunson in 8th. If you would have told me Jackson Brunson would be 8th at DNC,
and Ty was going to have to bump in.
Yeah.
You think the other way around.
Yeah. I mean, even him, talking to him, he's happy with the car. Says easy to drive. So, and then Ongaro 9th, that's nothing. He once again, he's come to DNC and done nothing. So he has to, at some point, Ongaro is going to have to do well, win one of these races. in America. Not all, like, yeah, he won RCGP, but like at a caliber of race of this with this much competition, he's gonna have to win one of these at some point in his career. And yeah, CJ Jalen, ninth. I think CJ Jalen, a ninth is good for him. He it's kind of, I was talking to him, so he's kind of like moved out of his house, like, and has moved in with his real dad now, and then, so he's not doing RC with his stepdad anymore, and he's got this private guy sponsoring him and stuff like that. So he's kind of, he just went 18 too, but still a nice young man. And I think ninth's a good finish for him at DNC, considering that he doesn't race much. And I think
he's interesting because when he raced for HB with Tessman, then especially after they both switched to X-Ray, like this guy looked like the next Tessman. Like he was fast. He was younger than Tessman at the time he made the first A-Mania at the Worlds, I believe. He made 2018 and the Worlds in May. So like he was like, this kid looked to be the next Tessman, but then just like when he had to leave X-Ray, all that stuff. I think, I don't know if it was him or the people behind him or what happened, but yeah, he just didn't. I don't know if he lost interest or he lacked support to make things happen. But yeah, it didn't look good for a few years, and perhaps this
sounds like he's back.
Yeah.
Ryan Pavidis in 11th, a good finish for Ryan, and Cole Ogden. He had the bump in, and Cole's probably going to get angry at me, but I expect better than him. You know what I mean? He shouldn't be in the B. And
I'll be a contrarian. I don't expect anything from Cole anymore. I don't expect him to do. When I go to a race, to me, Cole could qualify in the C. Cole could qualify second. I don't really know anymore. He could do anything from 25th to second. Like I don't have any expectations for him anymore because that's how he
Jesus. Is. Wow, Max, you lost all faith.
Yeah, he's a guy who can do good, can do bad. I don't think he even knows himself what he's doing. He just goes out there, drives. Sometimes he blows out. Sometimes he starts good, like wins a semi and then gets disqualified because of too large tank or whatever it was.
Yeah. Which we still haven't got the results from Raw, by the way.
But at this point, I don't expect anything from Cole. Like if someone says, yeah, Cole qualified 25th, I'm like, yeah. If someone says he TQ'd 2 rounds and TQ'd 1 round and finished second after qualifying, I'm like, yeah. Like the reaction is the same.
All right. I get that. Ryan Lutz, 11th. I think he broke. He said he broke something, but he got up to 4th at one point in this race and then just kind of fell back. I think he had a great DNC. For Ryan Lutz, he showed a lot of pace. Kayosho looked good out there. Big tent. Maybe not a big team, but they had, a lot bigger presence than what they had at the Nationals.
Yeah, at least they gave him a tent and he didn't have to pit in a van.
Yeah, so I think the
river.
Yeah, I think the future looks good for Lutz. Look, dude, I'm gonna be straight up. Like Spencer Rifkin, Associated, not a good weekend for them. Revealing of a new car and not doing too well. I think Mayako wins the new car reveal. No, actually Mugen does because they had the first. They have the new Mugen.
Okay. They ran the same car last year.
Yes, we know this, but you know what I mean. Yeah. But like Associated cars, like a lot new. The E-Buggy's a lot very much new, and just not a very good debut for them guys. Like they were the AE guys were just on the struggle bus. Like Aiden Horn, Cole Tallard, those guys were just struggling.
But this is actually what happened last time too. But you can go ahead, Tony.
So I think in silly season we kind of hit on this a little bit where AE lost quite a few guys, and I think there's a lot of faith in the top guys, and if Angaro and Rivkin don't really make it happen, it's going to look like a bad weekend for him, So you look at the other teams, and they've got quite a few people out there. I don't know. I don't. Did they go out and practice a bunch before I don't.
Yeah, they were at this track. They were testing the car. They made a video about it and all that stuff too. So unusual for Aiden. Aiden usually is in the mains, but he said he hasn't been really racing 8 scale a lot. They got him racing 10 scale.
I don't think he has ever been good at a DNC though.
Yeah, he has. He's only done 3.
Yeah, like let's be honest. Like Aiden Horn had good nats. I've never seen him do good at 8 scale anywhere else.
He has. He's finished 5th at some other races.
Yeah, well, 5th at some East Coast race is not.
No, but these are races with the same competition, not the European guys, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but it's different though. Like,
I get it.
5th is okay, but it's not like DNC main fighting for a good position. It's different level.
And one more shout out before we do this, before Max goes ape shit on AE. We gotta talk about Frankie Contreras. Frankie Contreras Jr. Finished. He broke. It looks like, and he broke with only 3 laps in, or 16 laps. Sorry. Unfortunate. This is another fast kid. I would like to see him get out of the West Coast area, maybe get down to some of these bigger race time events, and see what he can do there against those guys. But super impressive to make an A-main, at 14, 15 years old. When you was running intermediate last year. Now, a lot of people would say, well, this is like his home track, or, he practiced there a lot. But, hey, you made it. Yeah. You made a freaking A-man. Congratulations to you. And I'd like to see him race some more. So, TLR, make some money on the budget for him and send him down to race time and those events. All right. So, real quick, before we close up, because I don't want to go over 2 hours with this. 980-something entries. Too much?
Nope.
You say too much. You say, as a racer, did you feel like it wasn't too much?
I was expecting to be there later every single night. So I think, I told Vicky when we went there, I said, don't even ever plan of leaving the track before midnight, or 1 a.m. So we prepared to just kill ourselves. And even with all those entries, dude, we were out of there at 10, 11 o'clock.
I have to give it that. With all those entries,
I think that's doable,
I don't think every race should be like this. I think that the excitement of this, with the Europeans coming and all that type of stuff, more people came, more people signed up. I have a lot of people like, well, Joey made $100,000, and I'm like, so what? Like, you know what I mean? That's the whole point. Like, he's got to make money,
He's building the track 10 days before we even show up.
Yeah.
He's there every day. Like,
I agree.
Who does that?
Yeah, I agree.
Are these people complaining that he made a couple bucks doing that? No.
That's what I think people complain about. Like, I don't care that he makes money. As a race for value, as a racer, I still think you don't get enough track time. But I think going into this race, you know that. Like, you know what I mean? I think, see how you said to me your results didn't matter how you felt?
No.
Right? So a lot of when I went to talk to people, the first thing they would say was, my results aren't great, but and I'm like, we had this argument the other day of one of our buddies, Tourney. He was like, I might go to the Nationals, but I'm afraid to look like a pleb. I'm like, who cares? You go for this race, and you're at that level, you go for the experience of this race. And I think if a lot more people just did that instead of their results, they would enjoy this race a lot more. But I'll be honest with you, Max, as a racer and racing one class, you definitely couldn't do it at this race. No. You have to race 3 or more.
No, yeah.
But as an observer who just went, man, I could tell you that everybody had fun at this race, I think. Whether you ran one class or you ran 7.
Yeah. I got to be honest. Like, if I was I ran RC for fun, I wouldn't race DNC. I would just go there, but not race. Because, it's just you run 3 times a day. The track changes so much every time. You don't have warm-up. You stay there all day. It's cold at night. It's not.
Yeah, all these crazy things. But I was still there, and I had a blast.
Apart from P&B, this is the most annoying race to actually drive. But yeah, it's fun to be around there. So yeah, I don't like. I get it. The atmosphere is great. It's a great event, but racing wise, it's like it's not fun. But
I'm there to watch the pro guys.
I'm not gonna complain that Joey made money. I'd say like, hey, like let's have like 2 practice rounds next year, or like
no, but they couldn't do 2 practice rounds. You would have got out there at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Like make it so that everyone has at least 2 practice rounds, no matter what. Like
I don't know how they would do that.
Like
with that many
in the
entries.
last 3 years, we've had more DNCs with 1 round of practice than 2 rounds of practice.
Well, that's
so
better.
DNC de facto has 1 practice round. When you go to DNC, you know you're gonna have 1 practice round guaranteed, maybe not even that. And like, yeah, these races aren't fun to go to the race, but it's fun to go to the event. I think that's how you like. If you are an RC racer, that's the attitude you gotta have. The tracks are fun, but you don't get to drive them that much. So yeah, I think go to this race, go buy some beers, hang out with your pals, and then when someone says your race is up, then go out there and drive. I think that's when you have that attitude, then this race is great. I think that's like I'd say like everyone in intermediate and probably the last 10 guys in pro should have that attitude when they go to this race. And sportsmen and 40 plus is like obviously there.
Yeah. So I had 4 guys go with us that had never been to DNC. They haven't been to a race with more than about 260 entries or so. So their RC racing experience is like a decent regional race. And when they wanted to go to this race, I said, okay, here's the deal. First thing right out of the gate, you have to have no expectations. 0. Whether you are in the last main or if you TQ the whole sumbitch, you cannot have any expectations, because if you do, you're going to be disappointed. Okay. You're not going to have a good time, because this is such a wild race and there's so many people there. You have to be realistic. And
the competition level's high.
Every class. Yeah. Every class. And I said, you need to go just for the experience. I think everybody should go to the DNC at least once to have the experience, to see the big show, to see the track, to see all the people. And then after that, if you want to go, if you enjoyed it and big races are your thing, keep going, have fun. But start out on the right foot with no expectations. Just expect to go see all the top dogs and have all the manufacturers there and have a good time. It's basically an RC festival with some racing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good way to explain it.
Yeah. Yeah. And all of those guys, dude, they had the time of their freaking lives. These guys, they're still smiling. Like they're just blown away. And that's what's cool to see, is that's the life and the enthusiasm in RC that doesn't come around all that often. And these guys are hooked. They're like, we're going next year and the year after that, because they have a realistic, outlook on the event. If you do great. If you don't, it's still fun. It's still fun, man. Yeah. Meeting these people, met more people. They had Ongaro, Mario, in their pit working on his associated car. He's like, wow, the world champion is in my pit working on my car because they want me to do better. That's the stuff that goes miles for these guys, Yeah. So I think you just have to have the right expectation. You don't go to this race for runtime, period.
Yeah.
If we get 2 5-minute runs or 1 7-minute run, I don't think the other 3 minutes makes a shit of difference. If you go out there, you get 1 practice run to basically learn the layout, and that's it. Your stuff better be working pretty good already, obviously, if you're out there looking for a setup, you're already done. Like, you know, you're host. So, but I think the right attitude from the start makes all the difference in the world, you know?
Yeah, I think you put it much more positively than I did. I just sort of took the negative aspects of everything. But yeah, that's exactly what I was after. That I've said this about PMB before as well. Like this isn't a race you go for. This is a race for the pro guys. Rest of you guys, this is a festival, an RC. Like that's exactly what I've said about PMB and like all the big races in the East Coast, like DNC, even Silver State, that's a big race as well. Like you go there for the experience. The racing is just like, oh, I ran today like 2 times a day or 3 times. Well, obviously you have 2 classes because you have 40 plus and intermediate, so you get a little bit more track time. But most of these guys are gonna run like 3 classes, so buggy, trucking, and e-buggy. So sort of just have that attitude that, hey, I'm going there to have fun, and then I have my cars with me.
Yep.
And then if you're the pro, then you're going there to get your paycheck. But
it's work for them. Yeah, it's work for them, and it should be work for them, but it's not work for 98% of the other people. You know.
Yeah, I think this sort of, a lot of people have this attitude of, I'm going to be a pro one day. I need to show my sponsors at this big event, be it PMB, be it DNC, Silver State, whatever. That's the wrong attitude. Like
100% agree.
Let's say if you are a kid who has sponsors, who's on and up and wants to win intermediate to show like, hey, next year I'm going to be a pro. Maybe you sort of focus on the racing more. But apart from that 1 or 2 people, like, yeah, if you are not running pro class, like just have fun. Don't care about anything. Yep. And that's, in my opinion, that's the way to go. And that's the way you have fun at these events, because you don't go to DNC or PNB or whatever race to actually race on the track. You go there to have fun.
Yeah. And I think this year was even more so because of all the COVID crap the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Like you said, the DNC has kind of been a little bit on the fritz. You know, they've done what they can at the time. This year was like full prep by Joey. We had a little bit of rain, but it didn't really affect much other than Lake Ogden, which is a funny story. But I mean, I think this year everybody was just extremely happy to get back. And within our little DNC city, life was normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a week.
It was, yeah.
You know, we were all chilling. Like you said, you're having some drinks, you're hanging out, you're telling stories, pulling pranks on each other, you know, hitting the practice track. You know, we had a bunch of fun out there, you know.
Practice track got used a lot.
Oh, dude, practice track got blown to bits. But yeah, we were out there having fun, racing for a couple bucks here and there, you know. I mean, it was like, you know, this year it felt more normal for sure.
It definitely had a great feeling. I wanted to say shout out to everybody. I mean, on our personal side, like with in the Mayako Invisible Speed and all that stuff, man, a lot of people came up and gave Joseph a lot of credit, which I know he's not used to. A lot of people came up and bought his book as well and got him to sign it. People came up to me as well, saying how much they like what we do, like you, Max, and like everybody that contributes. So it was real positive on that side of things. We still had fun, you know what I mean? It was serious, but we had fun. And like I got to see Paul Coleman. I haven't seen Paul Coleman since 2005, you know, and I got to hang out with him, and then guys from Bermuda that I haven't seen since Kimon and them guys. I haven't seen them since probably 2005, 2008. Meet new people. Dude, so many people came up to me like, oh, I love the podcast. And I'm like, I think I should know your name, but I don't. So I'm like, oh yeah, thanks, man. You know, and I need people to introduce themselves because I know we've probably talked on Facebook, but I don't remember everybody, unfortunately. So in that type of vibe, dude, you know me. I went for a walk, Max, and I talked to everybody between her and and go into the driver's stand. But I was happy. I had a lot of fun. I really did. I cannot explain. So I went to the Nationals. The Nationals was fun, but not as fun as this. And I really had a blast. Even though it was long days, I prepared myself for it. And I kind of just did it. And I would agree. It was like, hey, here's a party. And an RC race broke out at it, kind of.
Yeah.
And I think everybody just in general had fun. And the pro guys, the atmosphere in the air was like, hey, this is a big freaking deal. Because I just want to talk, even before that, like that's all everybody was talking about. You go to Revelation, everyone's talking about the big race. Everybody's here. You know, you get all the Europeans coming early, going testing. You know, when you have guys like Ronnefalk, Zankatine, even JQ and Drake racing each other at Revelation at a club race, you know shit's about to get real. And we just had a lot of fun as a group. And I just kept saying, man, you would have really enjoyed it. Like, you know what I mean? If you would have been there, it would have been great to have you there. Another thing, Nitro is definitely a glory on the West Coast. Dude, you know, like you go to race time events, it's like E-Buggy and Nitro Buggy are kind of equal. At these races, dude, there was 118 sportsman Nitro Buggies entries with only 78 E-Buggy entries. I think 40 plus Nitro Buggy had 116 entries. Sportsman Buggy had 118 entries. And let's see, International Nitro Buggy had 115 entries. That's a lot of nitro burning cars, dude.
Yeah.
That's a
yeah,
lot.
but it's interesting how like Nitro Buggy fills up a whole day at DNC. I don't know how that happens, but the E-Buggy is definitely much more popular East Coast. So
yeah, most definitely. But hey, man, great event. The only thing I have to complain about one thing. No effing trash cans.
Well, I have a couple complaints too.
Yeah. Trash cans. No trash cans this year. It was very hard to find them.
Yeah. I
don't know what happened to the trash cans this year. So what was available were fucking running over. So that's the only thing I would complain about is getting trash cans in again. And lights. He needs lights. Better lights. Which I think they're getting. So like on the left side of the track was not well lit up. There should have been a light tower over there, rented one. And I think that even held up a race once because one of the lights went out and went out. But so I think they're getting the lights from the motorcycle track. Was it you that was telling me that, Tony?
I don't know what
somebody was telling me. Yeah, that the motorcycle track is closing and they're getting the lights from there, so it'll be well lit up. But hey, you know, it's a little different this year. It's the first time Joey's earned a track per se in many years since Hemet, and you can see that he's putting work into it. They have, you know, under you. Well, you never been there, Max, but so under they have these pavilions, so it's like open. I don't think they have pillars in them, or do they? They might do, but they don't have no pillars, so it's all open. It's like open things. So they got carpet. They got on-road going on in there, and then carpet off-road on the other side, and there's one guy taking care of that. So these guys are fortunate. Like they have a great track. The fucking practice track I would love to have. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's good to see. Like people were having fun, dude. Like it was just like Tourney said, people, you just saw people, they always had like a koozie with a beer in there and your camera died. They had a drink. I'm not saying that it's all about drinking at these races, but I mean, you know, we're all pretty much adults here. So it was just good, man. It was good. I had fun. I had a blast. I haven't had this much fun at a race in a very long time. Yeah. And I met some great people.
Same thing. Our trailer was full the first couple of days with customers and people and asking about our stuff or anything like that. It was like it just seemed like there was always somebody in there, and it was really cool to meet a lot of people that you'd talked to online for years and years and years, but never really met in person. And yeah, there was a lot of that going on, and a lot of pitting banter and losing people's starter boxes. And,
yeah, that was funny.
There was a lot of. I think it was a good community for sure.
Yeah, that's the word I look to. It was good to see everybody getting along. Hey, even I went to Chad Phillips and shook his hand and introduced myself to him and his son, and said like no hard feelings, you know, and like even seeing Joseph and Bornhorst kind of make up, even me making up with Bornhorst, like going to interview him, and even Elias and Joseph talked. Max, whew, that was surprising too. And then but you know, like they played around with each other. And then Elias and I talked, and he goes, so I guess you and I have a lot in common. Yes, like working for JQ gets on your nerves. Yes, I know how that is. So I had a good talk with him. But yeah, man, the general vibe was the racers were happy the fast guys were happy to be there racing against their European counterparts. The Europeans were happy to be there as well. Yep. And I think, obviously, I mean, nothing's perfect, but for me, I am looking forward to the next event. Everybody's like, are you coming to Silver State? I don't know. Maybe I am. It looks like I might be, so we'll see. You would have liked it, Max. You would have liked it. It was a good vibe. Yeah. Great vibe.
I think actually it was actually good that even Tony brought up the sort of aspect of like it being a festival type race, because I want to see these races actually capitalize on it. Like actually like make it a festival, like have a party out there, like every night someone organized, like there's music, there's some food, there's some like stuff, like people have actually a party up there.
That'd be good too.
And like there's like lounges where people can hang out, so it's more than just what's happening on track. Like I get it that people have fun in the pits, and that's great, and that's what you should obviously have, but I wish like it was also more than that, because I think this is the perfect opportunity to have that. Like make it so that there's like even those people who don't really get that schooling that you Tony gave to your friends, like even those people eventually realize that, okay, hey, this is actually the case, that I'm here to have fun, not looking at my results.
Yeah, I think that's what they're trying to do. And this year with that the Racecraft Rager, I didn't go because I'm old and my shades close by 10 or 11 o'clock and I'm done. So I didn't go, but I guess they had a pretty good time out there. Ryan Reese raced his first qualifier in the Hugh Hefner robe. Did you see that?
No, I missed it. We got there late.
They called him Huge Hefner instead of Hugh Hefner.
Hey, I think them guys didn't stop partying the entire time they were there.
I was going up the driver's stand for a race and he was coming down from just running. And all he had on was a bathrobe and a towel on his head. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I just got out of bed and this was comfortable. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, them guys had a blast.
So I'm sure the Rager went off pretty good, you know. But
all right. Any closing statements from you, Tourney, who you think needs to work on some things going into the next race? Companies, people?
I think Losie's behind the ball. I think they gotta, I don't know what they gotta do, but it seems like they're just not got it together on the 8 scale stuff. It seems like, I don't know what's missing. I can't put my finger on it, but when we watched the Truggy main and watched them all break, it was like, my goodness, 3 different drivers, 3 different driving styles, same result. That's not good. You know, that's not good. So I think they finished much lower than they wanted to, without a doubt. I was really surprised at how small their pit setup was and how few people were there. You know, Associated pretty much had the whole center section, and Losie's got like, what, 4 tents put together? Like,
yeah, it was very small compared to the last year I was there.
Yeah,
the team has shrunk a lot.
Yeah, like we said, a lot of guys left this year, but you know, I think HB's got a huge presence still. Associated they had a pretty big setup.
Techno
was out in force, yeah, for sure. Had all their guys there. Kyosho was a bigger setup than I thought they would have. I wouldn't have been surprised if they had 1 tent. you know.
Mugen always strong. It's West Coast, always got a strong showing.
Yeah, you got Adam and Ryan and those guys. And Tim.
X-Ray too had a good. I think all the teams had a good bit of people. I mean, the Mayako, JQS, Sam, Tense, but HB and Associated and Techno, I think, were the biggest. And the best, I have to say this, the One Army guys won the best tent setup, period.
Yeah.
Max. Oof, they had their tent setup but they had hammocks and stuff in there, dude. Yeah. I'm gonna get them on the podcast to talk about what they do. But yeah, I would have to agree with TLR. Something's up there. I don't know what they're gonna do. It's like they get forward a couple of steps and then they get pushed back a couple of more.
Yeah,
you know, one step forward, two steps back.
I don't think they have. It seemed like they just don't have like a double throwdown Nitro guy. Like Associated's got Richard. Richard's seen it all. He's done it all. Here's what we do and here's what we don't do. And everybody seems to have that type of person on their team. Like X-Ray's got Gord. They've raced for 20 years. You know, you guys have JQ. JQ's raced for forever, you know. Mugen, Adams raced forever. Losi has Barry. Barry's ran Nitro over the years, but I wouldn't say that is his steak and eggs. Thomas Tran.
What 10 scale?
I don't think he's ever ran Nitro in his life, like himself.
Right.
So I think maybe that person might be the missing piece. I'm not sure. It's hard to say. Yeah. I think they left I think they left the race like, what happened? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, TLR seems very interesting because they signed Cavalieri with Proline, and they had Fend. Like everyone thought his J Concepts contract was going to run out. So then they would have these two guys running OS engines, Proline tires, and TLR, everything sort of Horizon products, and like everything sort of set up to have the perfect team. They had Thomas Tran. All last year we talked about like how TLR is growing, how TLR is becoming big, and how it's coming like together, all of it. But now it just feels like everything's falling apart. Like Fenn had lackluster results. The new car, they had a new car. They've been running it since Silver State last year, but they haven't released it yet. So like TLR to me seems just lost. Like they have the most money behind it. They have very good drivers. They have in the team, they should have everything set up. But like they seem to be kind of going backwards for some reason, I think.
Yeah, it didn't look good for him at DNC. Yeah. I don't know what happened to Tourney. He kind of veered off somewhere. I think that's about it. I don't really have much else to say. I just had a good time, man. And thank you to everybody that helped me out or gave me something or came up and showed us some love for Tourney's back. And yeah, I think I tell people all the time, if you've never been to this race, you should go to it at least once. This year would have been a good year to go to it.
Yeah. Even if you're not a Nitro racer, if you're in the area, like Matty G stopped by. Did you see him in the pits?
Oh yeah, I gave him shit.
Yeah, we were up by the starting gate or whatever, and there he was. I'm like, the hell are you doing here? And he's like, helping my friends. I'm like, what do you think of this? He's like, dude, this is crazy. I'm like, this is huge, dude. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever see 1,000 entries in electric. You know? I
was like, dude, this is where the glory is.
Mm-hmm.
So, I had fun. I got to see my buddies Sean and Tyler came. I got to see Dibs and those guys. They were in for a big race. Like the R1 Works guys were there. Tom Renderneck, came there and he was telling me about it. And, you know, we was having a good talk. And I was like, how do you like your new nickname? He's like, I love it. It was good to see, man. Everybody just popped in for a little bit of the big DNC race, man. And yeah, kudos to Joey and those guys. Hey, Max, they had a compressor area with multiple compressor spots and it had lots of power. You would be happy. And they had tire washing spots and all that type of stuff. So
okay,
still didn't have tables for people though, huh?
So we're into the 21st century finally.
Well, I think because he actually has a facility there now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So he can do it all. Yeah, good time, and I had a blast. I'm gonna do another recap with JQ, but it's gonna be about what he went through and his emotions and all that stuff, and my emotions. But dude,
and emotions.
Yeah, he was emotional. I can't say it, man. I think if you didn't go to this DNC this year, you missed out on a great time. Simple as that.
Yeah, funnest race of the year for sure.
All right, Tourney. Sorry, go ahead, Max.
DNC is kind of like the American Neo. Like if Neo was that race everyone went to in Europe, DNC is that from America. I think that's sort of and after Neo is gone, I think that's the only one left of races that have this atmosphere.
Yeah. All right, so up for you next is the Nationals tourney. Are you still going on to the Nats?
No, I'm not going to do the Nats. I think we have one race that we might go to in the Northwest in April, and then Silver State in May.
Okay. Yeah, it's so close for everybody. You know what I mean? And it's such a long race as well. It's another week-long race. Excuse me. I'll be watching that. Tim Lime said the coverage will be great. Yeah. And then I guess I'm back in America for RCGP in South Carolina in 3 weeks, which I'm looking forward to. So yeah, back. That's going to be a little easier though. That's going to be, getting there 8:30 starts, finished by 8 o'clock most days, and
much closer too.
Yeah, much closer. All right, well, you know what? Kudos to everybody. Shout out to Ryan Mayfield for his double wins. Shout out to the Viking for his win in e-buggy. Shout out to everybody that went and did well. I have to shout out to Trent and Team Walker and Cody and all that guys, and just the whole group of people that were around us that I got to meet people that I haven't seen. It was great to see Paul Coleman and those guys, Tourney, meet you and your wife. Thank her for all our help. Max, thank you for your help while I was out there. I had to say happy birthday to Salty Joe. It was his birthday yesterday, so he'll probably listen to this. Them guys got a new layout in Bermuda, so they're all excited at the track today. Happy for them. If we forgot something about this DNC, I apologize. Or if I forgot to mention something, I apologize. But I met so many people, I can't remember everybody. And
absolutely,
yeah, I just had a blast, man. It took me a week. Like, I got home, I was so tired. I've woke up 9:30, 10 o'clock each day since I've been home, and then I still couldn't get my thoughts about this race together, and I wanted to get clear. And today was a good day. Thank you for your time, Tourney. Check out Klinik RC, everybody. I think the filter's done pretty well there as well.
Oh, yeah. Crazy. And, that was good for us because we could answer questions in person.
Good.
So many questions. Yeah.
Good. Max, thank you for your time. We'll be recording again, I think, her soon, Max, sometime this week. Yeah, man. Shout out to everybody. DNC was awesome. If you're planning on going next year, you should go. And exactly how we said it. Have no expectations and just expect to have fun. Be perfect.
I got one thing here before we end.
Sure.
Another long lifetime racer passed away this morning. His name was Brian Cook. Cookie was his nickname. He's been RC racing for as long as we've been around.
Really?
Cancer got him. Trying to keep it together here.
Yeah.
But another one. Rest in peace, Brian.
Yeah, sorry to hear. Where's he from? What part of the
Midwest?
Okay.
He moved a couple of times. We were talking here just a little while ago, but I saw on Facebook this morning that he had passed away, and it's getting like crazy common now. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Brian,
even more why we should enjoy these moments of being together and enjoying
absolutely.
What we do.
Yeah. Everybody enjoying, just having fun and that, because you never know,
yep.
when the clock runs out. But rest in peace, Brian. We'll miss you, man.
Yes. Rest in peace to him and his family. Also, rest in peace to Robbie Diamond. I see that they had a big benefit race for him yesterday, Lance and those guys. So, it's sad to see our RC family go away. So we got to enjoy the time that we do have with these people, with everybody. Max, anything to say before we leave?
No, man. DNC was great as always. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I was there though. I kind of want to start traveling again. RC, hanging out with people. Just hanging out at the pits is great. So.
By the way, you're very popular now. People enjoy listening to the arrogant one, or Homeless Max. They like listening to your answers. So one guy calls you Max Morty. I don't know. He just said, Morty, man.
Next year for sure.
Yeah, you should come.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us ramble on about our DNC. It was great. If you guys want, share some of your experiences in the comments of this. Thank you to everybody that supports us, the NNRC Squad around the world. We can't do it without you guys. Thank you to the patrons of the podcast. You guys will get early release of this. Once again, happy birthday to my boy Salty Joe. Shout out to the awesome sponsors. Remember, guys, we can't do this without our sponsors. Showing them some love shows us some love. Invisible Speed, TZO Tires had a great new showing at DNC, High Tech RC, TNR Fuels, Beach RC. It was great to see Brent and those guys. Happy for him as well. Great result for him and S-Wax. Techno RC was great to see those guys again. Lugs Tires, I got to see Brad. He come by. Mayako, JQSM, G-Spec RC Tuning. Finally got to meet him. My buddy. Papa Willie's Traction Tonic. Racecraft USA. Finally got to meet those guys. I got my pink flamingo hat. I'll have it in studio here soon. Klinik RC, JTP RC, RCGP, House of RC, RC Kevin. Shout out to the Viking, the Doctor, the Spaniard, and all the drivers that support the NNRC. Excuse me. Hey, Nitro's the glory. E-Buggy pays the bills. If you ain't grinding, you're sliding. Thank you guys for your time. We are out.